Well, hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. This is Pragmatic Lee, of course. This is starting a new project which I'm kind of excited about. I've seen several of these, or seen pictures of them. As I may have said before in some of my other videos, I've never been in a machine shop. What little bit I know, I've learned off of just watching other folks on YouTube and just experimenting. But I saw couple pictures a few weeks ago that led me into this project, and it's not something new. It's something other folks have done, but I'm kind of excited about it. It's turned out real good. I'm very pleased with it, and give me just a second to get the camera turned around and I'll show you what we're going to be building. As I said, this is not something new. It's been around. Folks have done it. There may even be some of these for sale commercially. It's a power drawbar for my mill. Slide that over just a little more. The challenges I faced with my mill was that there was, between the vertical line of where the drawbar was and the motor housing itself back here, there was less than 2 inches clearance back there. It's extremely tight. You'll see what some of the modifications I had to do. I didn't modify the mill. I had to make a little bit of change on the motor, but nothing drastic. But what we'll do in this project, it looks like it's going to be a 5-part project, so I do encourage you to stick around for the entire series. I appreciate all your comments, all your subscriptions, and all your views. It means a lot to me. It keeps me motivated to continue this work, or continue videoing the work. But as I say, this is probably going to be a 5-part project, 5-part series. I'll start out with this bottom plate. I posted a picture of this plate, I guess it's been a little over a month ago now, on the Machining YouTube group on Facebook, and called it a top secret project. Got a lot of nice little comments about it and guesses, but all this is, that is the bottom plate that will mount on the gearbox. We'll start with that. There'll be a segment on building this mounting platform up here and lining the hole up on it to be sure it's lined up with this. The challenge with this plate was getting the 2 holes lined up. And you see, that's how much clearance there was between the boss that's around the drawbar housing and the motor itself. That is less than 1/4 of an inch there. But we'll have a video on making this plate, also the floating plate. These little pieces, these uprights, and the slides here, we'll talk about those a lot, but that was just nothing more to that than cutting them to length and drilling and tapping each end. There's a bushing in here. You'll see that made. It's a Delrin bushing to ease the turning, to engage and disengage. So stick around with me. We're going to start out making this bottom plate right here, and then go all the way through the mounting of it in probably 5 different segments. All right, we're going to make our top plate go on top of the gear housing. It needs to be 4.835 by 5.9. On the 4.83 side, I've got a piece of material here, and it's got some dinks on one side, so I'm going to clean up this edge first. A little more depth. That's going to take, we'll see if this will clean it up. Need just a little more. It's got some chigger bites right on that edge right there. I'm trying a little higher RPM now than I normally run on this mill. I'm in H2 now, which is 1100 RPMs. Everything seems to be cutting fine. Just hope I got enough travel here on the Y-axis. As you can see, I put my jaws in the on the outside positions on the vise. Still had to use a 1, 2, 3 block to get it to clamp down on there. And I'm just going back in the climb mode without advancing it any, just to clean up any tears that it might have been where instead of cutting the aluminum it tore it. Alright, that cleaned up very nice. We'll turn the block around and start working on our final dimension. Alright, I think we got plenty to work with here. That's 5.4. We're looking 4.83. So we'll take a good cut on there to begin with to get our get a good starting point. Turn the DRO on. Let me be sure that's seated good. Okay, we'll get a good measurement now. Zero out our DRO on the x-axis. .331. 5.330. We'll go with 5.330. And do a quick math. 5.330 minus 4.835. $495 thousandths we need to take off. So let's get aluminum. I'm going to try 150 thousandths here with this rough and end mill and just see how it does. Alright, I believe we can get 200 thousandths without any problem. That WD-40 on the rough and end mill will help prevent it from clogging up, keep the chips from building up in the end mill. And of course I'm going back to the end So I'll be conventional milling and not climb milling on each cut. Let's get 200 more thousandths, and then we'll take another measurement. All right, let's get another measurement, do a little math. $4,921, 4,922. All right, 4.922 minus 4.835. 87 thousandths left to go. Okay, we'll get that all in one cut. This is obviously just a plate that goes on top, so it's it really don't have to be down to the thousandths. 87. All right, now we have just a about 100 thousandths to take off of the width. Those are factory edges. I'm going to turn it around, just take a little bit off of one side, get a measurement, and make the finish cut on the other side. They are both factory edges, but they got a little ding on them. All right, let's see what we need to take off. .987. Of course, measuring with the calipers. 5.986. So we need to take about 86 thousandths off once we find that edge. That'll be our zero. About 86 thousandths, 85, something like that. All right, I'm going to raise the camera up a little bit so that you can see. Turn that back light off so it don't wash out so bad, maybe. All right, what we just made is a plate that'll go right up here. Now, I've got to measure for this boss that's sticking up here, and this is the fill plug for the gearbox for the gearbox oil lubricant in here. We'll need to mark out for the 4 screws that holds this on here. I do not want to drill into this. I don't want to take any chance of getting any chips down in the gearbox, and I don't want to go to all the trouble to take this apart either for this. I can locate these holes, indicate them on here, and then locate them on my new piece. Same thing with the with this boss up here and for that fill plug. So I'm going to lay that out on the workbench, and then we'll start drilling our big holes or boring out our holes. Okay, I've got the two holes located now. This one will be 2.9 inches for the boss, thereabouts. The more important thing is that it's pretty much centered on it. And then this one's 1 inch. I've got this center on here. I'm going to drill that out to a 1/2 inch, then put the boring bar in. Well, let's see, I may have a couple bits. I may even have up to a 1 inch bit. We'll see how that cuts through there. I've slowed the drill back down now, the mill back down to 600 RPMs. Okay, I'm going to have to raise my head up some. This is a 1/2 inch now. Alright, let me go see what I can find for some larger bits. Alright, I found a 5/8 and a 1 inch. But I believe we're going to slow it way down some. Or slow it down from what it is now. Okay, low. That's 320. We'll try that. We might want to go a little slower on the when we get to the 1 inch. I'm just not accustomed to drilling with this larger bits. Alright, now we'll try the 1 inch bit before we go to the boring head. Alright, hold on. Cut it just like it was supposed to. Okay, I'm going to get the boring head set up and we'll be right back. Okay, I have the boring head in now. And I've got a little boring bar in the center hole. At some point though, I'm going to have to stop and put it in this outside hole from the bottom, just because of the radius. The diameter of the hole is 2.9 inches. So I could have probably got away with putting it on the outside one to start with, but I didn't think about the size of the hole. So we'll start now. 10, 20. I'm going to try a full 50 thousandths. That's 50 thousandths off the radius now. I have no idea to cut that much, but we'll see. Yeah, that's cutting fine. Alright, I can probably get one more before I need to move the boring head over. Alright, I'm going to move the bar over to the other hole in the head and continue this process. I'll bring you back when we get a little closer. Okay, I should have about 2 more cuts to make. I'm taking 100 thousandths off the diameter each cut, and I'm getting pretty close to the max on my boring head. So we'll see if it's going to get our diameter there. And this diameter is only crucial to the point of measuring it with a scale. We don't need inside mics or even calipers on this. And during this series of videos, if I hadn't already mentioned it, I am using an external microphone, so you won't hear very little external noise. Alright, that's That's not quite 2.8. I'm going to take one more cut on this, and then we'll get a little closer measurement. And again, I'm about to reach my max on the amount that I can. Let me back you up just a little bit. I'm just about maxed out on how much I can go out there, so I just will watch it and be sure it don't wiggle too much. Alright, let's see where we are now. That is 2.9. The hole is clean. I'm going to leave it like that. Alright, what I'm going to do next is get it set up to drill this hole over here. I'll have to move it in the vise as that's under the vise jaw now. But I'll bring you back when I get that set up. Alright, with some blocking and parallels and spacers, and we should be clear now to get our 1-inch hole for the fill plug. I've located the center punch. While that's down there, let me look around. Oh yeah, we got clearance under there. I'm going to see if I can skip the 1/2-inch drill and go to the 5/8. Sure, I'm going to have to go up a little bit. Just double checking underneath the bottom. I do not want to hit my vise jaws. Alright, we have the 1-inch bit in now. Okay, let me carry this over to the workbench and get it deburred, and then we'll see if it fits. Alright, we have the plate that we just cut out. I've got it deburred. See if it fits over this. And it does. I didn't try to give dimensions on and spacing on this boss and this fill plug because that is going to vary unless you got the exact same machine. That's going to vary here. But the next thing I need to do is locate these 4 holes that we'll use to mount this. These are 6mm screws. I hadn't checked the length yet. But what I'm going to do is make a not really sure what to call it. I'm going to turn a little piece on the lathe. This diameter right here and that depth, something like a center punch, but just have it just so that it's barely sticking up on this level right here. Put it down, put the piece on there, tap it down, mark 1 hole, put the screw back in that hole, and move 1 at a time around through there. This is just not anywhere conducive to measuring. I'll look and see if I can measure. I just feel more comfortable indicating that with a transfer punch from the bottom side. So I'm going to work on that. Get it set up over on the lathe. But that fits nicely.